This episode of Epic Thoughts is brought to you in part by Streamyard. Yo, you've been talking about doing a podcast forever and you don't know where to start. I get that. Yo, Streamyard is here to help you. Streamyard does everything for you. It sends it to all the places that you want the podcast to go. If you have an RTTP, it'll send it to it. You have a YouTube channel, it'll send it to it. You have a Facebook, it'll send it to it. As a matter of fact, you can even go live on your computer and send it directly to where you need it to go. You can also have audio and video downloads so you can send it to your Spotify page. It does everything for you. It has video assets. You can add videos. You can even add media now. You can add text. You can add scrolling text. You can do so many different things. The list goes on and on and on. StreamYard is here to help you take your podcast to the next level. Hey, here at Epic Thoughts and Heritage Park, we use StreamYard for everything on our podcast. And so, listen, I'm telling you, it's easy to use and it's great to use. So be a part of the team. Join StreamYard today. Click the link in the description and get started. All right? God bless. Always check on your strong friends too, because they're the ones that never say anything. This is Epic Thoughts. Good evening, good morning, good night. Good evening, good morning, good night. What's up with you? I don't bite. Good evening, good morning, good night. What's up? I hope you're doing well. Another episode of Epic Thoughts. I'm your host, Rohmon, the one person that knows the difference between, I don't know how to finish that sentence. See what happens when you start sentences and you don't know where to finish them? Anyways, I'm happy you're here with me. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you for those who are supporting Epic Thoughts and Heritage Park. I appreciate you. Thank you for those who are listening on HP Radio, who are watching HP TV, who's listening on Spotify and watching on YouTube. The numbers everywhere are growing. Let's keep this thing going, man. I appreciate all the support. Good looking out. And for those who are blowing up my TikTok, appreciate that. I need to post better. I need to get on the Christina and the CJV game and post better on TikTok. But, we'll get to that. Give us time. Give us time. We'll get to it. Man, there's so much going on. There's so much drama in the LBC. It's kind of hard being the homie, the bro baby. Not playing. It's so much going on. It is crazy. Just 2 weeks ago, on a Friday morning, it wasn't Friday night. It was a Friday morning. Just 2 weeks ago, I was having like a mental breakdown simply because of just from the conversations on X between Mr. Elon Musk and Mr. President Donald Trump. I was having a hard time already just from that. I couldn't, the bombshells that are being dropped right then and there, and just that 12-hour span between Thursday night and Friday morning were just too much. It was incredible. Kanye getting involved, other cats getting involved. It was throwing me off. Then I wake up, that's Friday, and the next thing you know, we having ICE. And if you're in California, you can't be in California and not know what's going on with what was happening in LA, the protests that are going on in LA, with the people in LA, the Los Angelinos protesting against ICE. That was just crazy. I don't understand why people would call it a peaceful protest. Like throwing a boulder from a highway overpass is not peaceful. And I'm not saying that everyone there wasn't peaceful. There were some people who were probably protesting peacefully, but then there are people there who were just there to cause trouble. And because that's Angelinos. I know this is home to me, but I know that some of them don't even know what they're protesting as much as they were trying to just cause chaos. But the protest was happening. And then we had the No King protest not too long ago, a couple of days ago. And all this was happening. It was just like all of a sudden we stopped talking about some of the bombshells that Elon put out there, and I was just like, dang, this is crazy what's happening right now. And it's almost to the point where it was like, are they trying to distract us? Are people trying to distract us? Because it's been like this for a couple years now, right? It's like one story after another story, then something else happened, then something else happened. And it's like we're not getting a chance to even breathe. There's always some new situation coming across. There's always some new idea. There's always a new story. And it just never stops. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the beast that we created of social media and having instant information and instant news. I don't know if that's part of the monster that we've created, but yet here we are. This is where we are today. And it's gone crazy is what it is. It's just gone crazy. And so now here we are. And there's so much going on. When we came to talk about this show, we were confused. What do we talk about? And I was like, dude, just hit record and see what comes out of my mouth. That's dangerous. And my mic is always jacked up, man. That's dangerous, but we're going to do it anyways. 2 days ago, out on the 61st day. So to give you context, about 63 days ago, Donald Trump gave Iran, basically, he told them, listen, we don't want you to have these nuclear weapons. We want you to encourage peace. We want you to encourage to get rid of all these other things. We're going to give you 60 days to come to the table with a solution. And I'm going to give you 60 days, a hold off for 60 days. On the 61st day, Israel attacks Iran, shoots missiles at Iran. This is just a precedented crazy situation that's happening right now. And I feel like now we got the Greeks fighting the Turks, and we are on the cusp of, it seems like World War III. And there's been prophecy about this. I've heard ministers talk about it, and it's a scary situation to be in. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of information, a lot of back and forth in the worldwide conversation. Where does America fit in this? Would you have a president like Donald Trump, who's pretty trigger happy? I think he's trigger happy, at least. Me personally, I think he's a little trigger happy. He loves to pull the trigger when he feels threatened or when he doesn't feel like he's getting his way. And we've known him, if anything, we know him to be really quick to snap at somebody when they don't do what he wants them to do. So when that stuff starts to happen, you gotta start praying, man. This is some unprecedented times. Israel making the move that they did is a very unprecedented move right there. And so pray for it. Pray for. I've been praying about my own thing. I've been kind of wondering. I know the Bible makes a biblical statement on protecting Israel, and I don't know. Now I'm starting to think: is it the land that we're protecting, or is it the people? Like if it's God chosen people, or is it the actual geographical location? But no matter what it is, man, let's just continue to pray. Let's just continue to hope that God has his hands on the whole situation. And then during this moment, we gotta pray more fervently that God takes care of us. There's all kind of conversations about whose side you're on and what do we stand for, what should we not stand for. At the end of the day, the Thessalonians tells us to live a quiet life, tells us to be chill. I stand up for righteousness' sake, so we stand up for righteousness' sake. I don't try to get into the dogfight between left and right because both sides have massive problems. I say that all the time. Both sides have massive problems. Like the more if you actually read and just think for yourself, you'll come to the conclusion that there's no side that's actually greatly better than the other. There's no side that's actually really smart. There's the left do some things that are okay, but then they do some dumb stuff. The right has a tendency to kind of throw away all kind of common sense sometimes. And then, so it's like choosing a fart to smell. It really is at this point. And so with everything happening in Israel, dude, we need to be more prayerful more than ever. We need to be bringing people back to God through just telling people about the good news, being kind, being gentle, being loving to people, not falling into any agendas, and just moving forward with God, what he wants for us. Because, man, if you thought that we were in the last days before, I think the bombing, the Israel shooting rockets at Israel, Iran, and what they were shooting at, those are very poignant directions that they're going for. That's not just blind targets. Like they were going for the Iran nuclear bombs facility. So that's just, and Iran is not happy. Again, it's one of those things again where the people are hiding behind people. It's just a bad situation. So let's pray for it. Pray for Iran. But before we go on to the next point,
hey, this episode of Epic Thoughts is brought to you by Tajai.ai. I used to spend so much time with every video I would do, trying to find the best reels, trying to plug them in right, trying to cut it really good. It took forever. I had to watch every hour of video. But with Tajai.ai, I don't have to do that no more. I could just upload the video to Tajai.ai, and the AI software finds the best engaging clips, cuts them up for you, makes it available for you can put it on your social media pages. I'm talking reels, clips for YouTube, short clips for YouTube. It also does your Twitter page or your X page, LinkedIn, blog pages. It does it all. It even writes up descriptions and details and puts the chapters together for even your long form videos. It does everything, and it's so easy to use. And they're sponsoring Epic Thoughts this month. So in the link below, in the description of this video, you'll see a link for Tajai.ai. Click that and get started today, man. Let them know that Ro sent you. Man, I appreciate you. Back to the episode.
Yeah, so now more things are coming out. With that happening, here's the thing I really want to talk about. Christian music, bro. Like, what's happening? First things first, I grew up, I got saved about 17 years old, but even before then, I would go to youth groups and they would always try to get us to get rid of our secular music. Remember that? They were always trying to we're going to get rid of secular music, and they would preach for hours about the lows of secular music and what they're doing to our mind and all this stuff. And they would just sit there and communicate to us, you need to get Christian music, and this is the Christian music you need and stuff like that. And I remember one of the bands that was super high on the charts was DC Talk, and DC Talk was, it was Michael Tate, it was Toby Mac, who both are doing music to this day. And the third guy, let me look him up real fast. Kevin Max, Toby Mac, and Michael Tate. Those are the three people that make up DC Talk. And they were doing music for like a big part of the 90s. And I can't remember when they dropped out. I think it was like 2000, 2001. They kind of split up, and Toby Mac started doing his thing. And I don't know what no one really knows what Kevin Max doing. If you know what Kevin Max been up to, let me know. I guess we could just simply type his name in. But then Michael Tate moved on, and he was doing some theater stuff, and he did Joseph and Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the rock version. That was pretty cool for a minute. And then early 2000s, he gets the gig as the new frontman for Newsboys, and he rocked with Newsboys for I think 20 years. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he joined in like 2005, 6, and he's been pretty much the frontman for Newsboys. And Newsboys is like, if you were going to try to gauge Christian artists into what they were back, to modern thinking, Newsboys I could say would be like equivalent to the Aerosmith of Christian music. I think I could say that. They've been like the Aerosmith of Christian music, and Michael Tate was like the front man. Like that's the gig. That's like they can do a show, and generations of people will show up. Generations of people will celebrate them, and they just have a great time with them. And they've been doing that for 20 years. There's been some rumors about Michael Tate for years. I personally heard rumors just being in the industry from certain people, but nothing ever really came out. No deep conversation. He just last week The Guardian has released that there's been some allegations of sexual assault with the main lead singer for Newsboys, Michael Tate, again, who's been in the music business for years. But the Guardian has just released that there's accused of sexual assault on 3 men, that Michael Tate has sexually assaulted 3 men. These 3 men that he sexually assaulted, he assaulted when they were young boys or when they were teenage fans, basically. The report from the Guardian also states that Michael Tate gave him alcohol and cocaine. These are minors at the time at the time. And at the time, he gave him cocaine and alcohol, preferably beer, and then they would pass out. And reports are now coming out that that he was sexually assaulting them. This has been obviously in January of this year, Michael Tate steps down as the lead singer of Newsboys after 20 years or 19 years, I believe. 19 years, he steps down. Now, again, there's been some kind of conversation. There's been some rumors about his lifestyle and his choices in that matter. But it's been uncovered that's one of the reasons why he had stepped down. With that, he has made reference to saying he has come and released a statement in which he confirms that he has been living a double life. It says the allegations, this is through the Guardian. It says the biggest allegations about Tate's behavior revealed starkly contrast with the public image that he had cultivated for nearly 4 decades. The 59-year-old native of Washington, D.C. has sold 18 million albums, Corinthian songs that often encourage young Christians to stay sober, abstinent, and straight. But sources who spoke to the Guardian claimed Tate's alleged drug use and alleged abuse behaviors were the biggest open secret in the Christian music business. The Guardian has interviewed 25 people in the Christian music industry, most of whom say they had prior knowledge of allegations that Tate had engaged in abusive behavior. The men who have come forward and shared their allegations, 2 agreeing to go on the record with their names, while the rest spoke on the conditions of anonymity, where age is 13 to 29 at the time of their alleged experiences. They all grew up in evangelical Christians, where Tate's music was the primary soundtrack of their youth groups, summer camps, and mission trips. Having taken the message of Tate's songs to heart, they were naive about sex and drugs throughout their youth. All were starstruck when meeting their childhood hero, but quickly saw their image of him as a role model of Christian piety dissolve as they were taken on a bumpy road ride of rock and roll debauchery. This is a Christian artist, man. One man says, this man's destroyed my life. This is somebody who's been in the limelight, like the Guardian said, for 40 years. 40 years he has spent singing, ministering, singing godly songs to, I'm telling you, millions of people. If there's, I know a lot of my fans aren't really stock Christian, devout Christians, but some are. If you could ask any Christian, they'll tell you they know Newsboys. They have some kind of Newsboy story. My Newsboy story was before Michael Tate. Like, I went to a show before Michael Tate, and that show was just nuts. So I'm just saying we all have a Newsboy experience. That's like the go-to band. That's our Beatles almost. That's like our Beatles. And so to hear, and he was a hero to so many. He was a hero to so many, beloved by millions of people, adored, mimicked. People wanted to be like this guy. People looked up to this guy. And we've come to find out, and he's releasing a statement this last week that not only is this thing accurate, but it's true. And he's called it out. I will give him respect for that. He's come out and said, what you've seen, what you're hearing is blatantly true. As a matter of fact, it's more than true. It's a downright sin. And I'm not more than just ashamed. I'm appalled by my actions, and I'll call it what it is. And I respect that. But bro, at the same time, like, what are we doing? Seriously. Like, and here's my other question. Here's my main concern. Newsboys is primarily a 5-member band. I know they drummers interchange and some instrumentals change, but they're a large band. Like, they're not like your basic 3 band or 4. This is a 5-member band. And I think it always has. It always been a 5-member band, if I remember correctly. So, and in January, the band, actually, The January Michael Tate leaves the band. Okay. Nothing was said why he left the band. And me personally, I think I had some understanding because of just being in the industry. When you're in the industry, you kind of hear little things here and there. So I heard some things, but I wasn't really pushing it like that. But I'll tell you this much. When the band also released a statement last week stating that they had no idea that this stuff was going on. But these abuses go back 10, 15 years. So you mean to tell me that for 19 years, your lead singer, your frontman was dabbling in cocaine and alcohol and you knew nothing about it? You literally just turned the other cheek? Like, here's the scarier thought. Out of the 5 band members, I went and I counted myself. Out of the 5 band members, you're talking about there was the growth of 14, 19 kids, not to mention the umpteen amount of grandchildren. So the children were around this band. I'm pretty sure of that. They're a family-oriented band, so the kids got to be around. And you're telling me for the 19 years this guy was in your band, lead singer, and you had no idea that he was involved in this kind of behavior? Okay. We'll just say for argument's sake that you didn't know that he was involved in that kind of behavior. Fair enough. I'll give you that. Fair enough. But when he stepped down as the lead singer of your band, which you have these hardcore Christian values, in January, when you made the statement that he stepped down, and your statement was, Newsboys' statement was, when he stepped down in January, they did it because he had an alternative lifestyle that didn't match didn't match what you stood for as a band. Okay. You can take it however you want. Well, I took it as his secret came out. Okay. The secret that many of us know about him came out, having to do with his sexual desire or his sexual preference. Okay. You're telling me that you were so uninvolved with this guy for 19 years. You didn't pick up that this guy has a double life. Like, you didn't see that at all. How is that possible? How does that even remotely make sense to you that you had this relationship with this guy for 19 years as the front man of your band and you didn't know, you didn't pick up that he has belief system that are outside of what your band stands for? I don't know if I buy that. It's just a clean way to saying, hey, we knew nothing of this. Could it be possible? It very well could be possible. I'm not doubting it at all. But it just seems improbable. It just seems improbable. Especially a report of this size, a report of this vernacular, a report that's this big. I just can't. I'm reading this and I could not read this. Like, over the last 38 years, watch this. Over the last 38 years, Tait has emerged as one of the most iconic names in CCM. CCM is contemporary Christian music. The genre and industry often exists in its own commercial and cultural ecosystem, yet mimics popular trends of mainstream music. So that means this guy was a star. He was a star for 38 years. He's been at the forefront of Christian music, creating multi-platinum superstars who are marketed to teens and their parents as wholesome alternatives to the sinful lifestyle of mainstream rock stars. So here he is representing himself as somebody who's supposed to be different than the mainstream rock stars and ends up being exactly like them. He's getting drunk on the tour bus. He's having sex with different people. He's just living it hard in the paint. He's a Grammy winning. Is he Grammy? Does he win a Grammy? He's a Dove Award. Dove Awards. Dove Awards, for those of you who don't know, Dove Awards are the Grammys for Christian music. Okay. So I think he won a Dove Award in 96. And for DC Talk, he's won a Dove Award with them. And Jesus Freak was probably one of the biggest hits that he's ever experienced with that band, with DC Talk. That's where he became famous for. This is a hit. I wonder if This is me spitballing. I wonder if CCM is done. Like, I wonder if we're done. The genre of Christian music, I think, is under, not just under attack, but now we need to discuss its refunctionality. Because the functionality behind this now is changed. It's changing. It's meant to change. Where we are at right now, I don't know. I know that people who do this stuff and people who make a living out of this and people who have a passion for CCM, a lot of them do it because they're passionate about the music. Many people do it because they're passionate about the Lord, and this is the avenue that they choose. And that's all good. That's all great. But now it's gotten to the point where, and it's been like this conversation has been happening for years now, where they say, you know what, the Christian music industry is looking like the secular music industry. Like there is actually now no separation between the two. They look like each other. And the more we try to argue it, we have stories of Gavi. I don't know if you remember Gavi, but Gavi was a story. Dante Bowie, excuse me, from Maverick City. Kirk Franklin's been under fire forever. Lecrae, because he's doing songs with E40, like, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. But now, and then in the lieu of we just getting out of this mess with Pastor Robert Morris in Texas, and now Michael Tate. Like, I understand, again, I'm probably one of the most gracious ministers you can find. I'm very grace. I'm grace driven, and I will stick that way because, like I tell you all the time, I need the grace just as much as I need as much grace as possible. Okay, so I'm not going to sit there and eliminate grace because I need it. So I'm going to grace him, but there comes a point where I don't really hold a heart to people who hurt kids. Teenagers, no. Like, that's messed up when you start fooling with kids. And when you start giving kids alcohol, when you're giving kids cocaine, like, and when you start like sexually assaulting people, that's kind of like where I draw the line. Even sexual assault in itself, right? Like, especially in America. In America, this country is pretty Babylonian, if you ask me. I think we're a Babylonian country. People say we're a Christian nation. I think we're a Babylonian nation at its core. Like, this country is just downright evil. Okay. It's not like I would live anywhere else, but we're still Babylonic. My point is this. There's no, in my mind, there's no place for sexual assaulters, people who sexually assault people. There's no place for that. Like, you can literally go on Tinder and find somebody to handle your fix if you have a fix, right? If you're pent up, you can go find somebody to take care of you. Like, you don't have to assault people. But then again, sexual assault and rape is never really about, I'm just full of lust and I don't know what to do with it. Those are assault on people because of hate. Those should be hate crimes. I have no quorum to say. I have no grace for people who do those things. Just none whatsoever. I go pretty far. I go pretty far on what I give grace on. But this one, I can't do it. So I want to hear more, though. I want to hear more from the Newsboys. I don't want to just hear this statement saying, oh, we had no idea that he was doing this. No, bro, he was doing this for 20 years. You can't just say, yeah, we didn't know anything about it. That's not going to work for me. I need to know why you didn't know it. That's what I need to know. I need to know why you didn't know it. And it's going to go deeper than that. Conversations talking about files being charged against Michael Tate. And I pray for restoration, right? But man, and let me just say this. in lieu of what's going on with Diddy, in lieu of what's going on with Diddy, you had to know your time was coming. They coming after you. If you've done anything like that in your past, and you are an artist, and you got, I couldn't sleep at night. And I've done people dirty. I've done girls dirty in my dating life. I have, and I can't. Sometimes I want to write letters and be like, yo, I'm sorry, I did you dirty. But man, sexual assault is just a whole nother monster. It's just a whole nother monster. It's sad. Um, and the Christian industry just keeps continuing to give to us these conversations. This weekend we had the BET Awards. The BET Awards. When you talk about CCM, right? And then you talk about the BET Music Awards, and they talk about their gospel department. Their gospel department and CCM couldn't be more different. Couldn't be more different. What you would call a gospel artist at BET, and if you take one of those artists and the CCM artist and kind of put them in the same room, they're not going to look alike. All right. So this is a whole nother genre of Christian music, is the BET gospel, because what the BET music people see as gospel apparently is just on a different level. So they have their best gospel album. They did the BET Awards this weekend, and for best gospel song, Kirk Franklin wins. Now, I've been one person who stand and defend Kirk Franklin. I've defended Kirk Franklin for years, and I probably still will, because Kirk Franklin is he's just a different type of cat. Okay, he's got heart. He's got a different type of heart. He sees ministry very, very different. He sees people very differently, and you know what? That's the beauty part of being in God's world and God's ecosystem. Each one of us is developed to see people differently. So Kurt sees people differently. I get that. Maverick City, I'm not the biggest fan of Maverick City. However, again, that's if people have, heart to say, I like them at this level, I like Maverick City at this level, I'm going to sit there and be like, okay, cool, Maverick City is cool. They win an award, and the artist who comes to accept the award is Glorilla. Now, listen, like, I'm laughing because you can't make this up. Glorilla has been in the game for like 4 years. For 4 years. And I'm telling you, she has dropped several songs in 4 years. Okay. Now, if you don't know Glorilla, I'm going to encourage you at one point today or during your day to just play a couple Glorilla songs on Spotify. Just go on your Spotify, on your Apple Music or your YouTube Music, and play something Glorilla. Like, I don't know what songs to play, but just play a song here, okay, here and there. She's an Interscope artist, 25 years old. Let me just give you a list of her songs. Do we have a list of her songs? Here we go. I don't have a list of her songs. Killing It Girl. Anyway, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go down and listen to her song. Wannabe, yeah, Glow, TGIF, Tomorrow too. She's just got a list of music, right? She's never been mentioned in any kind of BET awards for 3 years. Okay. But she gets featured on a J-Hope's track and wins the award on BET Gospel Award. Okay. I would play the clip of her accepting the award, but YouTube loves giving me strikes, even though I do everything they want me to do. I do everything that everyone else does. I speed it up. I play only a few seconds and add commentary. I put commentary on everything. They love giving me strikes. So we're not going to do that today. But I will tell you, she was genuinely excited. She was genuinely happy she won the award. She did make a statement. She was like, I've been making music for 3 years. Y'all never invite me over here. I never get nominated for anything. And then here I am now collecting best gospel album. And I am like laughing. I'm laughing because the audacity of the industry or BET. And I listen, I can't stress this enough, right? We have this connection in our culture that thinks that part of the Black culture is a godly one. When you come to a realization of who Jesus is, you realize culture is your Black culture ain't got nothing to do with that. Like that's got nothing to do with Jesus. And so it's heartbreaking to continue to be like, yeah, and we also love God because of what he did. No, like if you really understood what God did, you would be able to walk away from that. And here's my thing. And I'm not the guy I got on my new record, I got a song with a secular artist. I do. I have a song with a secular artist on my new record. And just because of we have similar teams work with each other. So we like me and this guy are like me and the artist are like 2 phone calls away. Like we don't have a high level of separation. Like he can call my guy and like 2 calls and we're in the studio. So we did a song together. It was that simple. And I know people are going to say stuff, but again, I'm not doing numbers like these guys are. So it's not a big deal to me. I'm just making music at this point. Like when you get older and you start making records, you're just trying to make records to feel good and get your word out. You're not trying to make $1 million, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to enjoy these last few years of whatever I got in the game. And so, yeah, I have a song with a secular artist, but other people, they just lose their marbles when Christians and non-Christians get on a record together. And now, not only are we doing that more consistently now, because it's happening a lot more than often, we're getting now the secular artists who are getting on our songs are winning awards. People say that this has been a spit in the face for for me, like the Lecrae's, the Miles Minnicks, and the Toby the Wigways, and all these other artists who work hard for the platform. John Keith, by the way, let me just say right now, if I was to make an award, if I was to make the Heritage Park Award, my artist of the year early right now is John Keith. Like his new music, his new record that is coming out, I think it came out last week, or if not this week, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's got me in my feels. Anyways, I just say that to say that, but there's so many great artists that we can listen to and have a good time. And to give Glorilla this award, was it a spit in the face? I'm going to say yes, it was. It was definitely a spit in the face of the Miles Minnicks and the Lecrae's and the Don Reddys and the Young Chris and all these cats, the Linnell Grant. Gosh, the list goes on and on of all these great people, Toby the Wigway, all these artists that have done some excellent work up until this point. They all deserve their flowers. They all deserve what they get. No big deal. They all deserve it. But here's the deal. And I think this is where a lot of them are. I haven't talked to a lot of them, talked to a handful of them. And it seems like at the end of the day, no one really seems to care. They're just like, hey, we ain't doing it for that glory anyway. We're doing it for the glory of God. Now, with that being said, I do, like I said before, the industry is looking at being overhauled. It's no longer, I think that this industry is no longer going to be something that mimics the standard secular music industry, but it's going to take a place of its own self. I think industry and entertainment from a Christian perspective is changing. And you could tell by like bands like Indie Tribe and Miles and all these artists who are kind of like making their own way outside of what music industry wants us to do and how they want us to do it. They're doing it their own way. And even labels like Reach and even to a degree, Heritage Park, our label, we have to adjust to how the music industry is now looking now because it's totally different than it was before. And so with that being said, we have to kind of like go at this whole thing completely different than we did before. So with that being said, man, heads up, man. This is the time of great change. This is the time of revolution. It even changes on the filming industry. If like just look at what Angel Studios was able to do in 5 small years. Like in 5 short years. Not only have they made an incredible product, they've made room for other incredible products. And these products are now, not only are they being effective and they're shot really well and they're packaged extremely well, they're actually bringing in revenue to put back into people's pockets. So now people who want to act but don't want to give their soul up to this monster, this industry that just sucks the life out of them and then spits them to the curb when they're done. Now there seems to be this whole other avenue that takes a presence of its own, a life of its own. And hopefully, I don't know completely. I could tell you from our end, HP, we do right by people for the most part, I think. But hopefully, and there's been some things spattering out because it's people. It's a people business. And so hopefully people are getting a better taste in their life, in their mouth with doing ministry or doing the entertainment work that's geared towards bringing a message as opposed to just entertainment for entertaining purposes. There's been a lot of good movies out. There's a lot of good films, a lot of good projects. And hopefully we can keep this up and keep it going in that direction. But man, Glorilla winning Best Gospel Album. I've seen enough to know that I've seen too much. I've seen enough to know that I have seen too much. A lot of craziness in the world today. It's a lot of craziness in the world today. And with that being said, we need to be just be prayed up, bro. Like, and at the end of the day, we have to ask the question, well, God, what is it you want me to do? There seems to be a lot of stuff going on. Where's my place in this? And I keep bringing it back to, we need to be prayed up. We need to be ready. We need to be focused. We need to be open to do the things that God wants us to do, because the world is changing, man. Like I don't know why, but I had some kind of level of hope for this year. There was going to be a little bit of a breathing, a little bit of a, I can lay down my guard a little bit. No, not at all. Like, if anything, this year we've had to have our guard up more than ever. So with that being said, like, we gotta be praying, bro. Like, you have to put your trust in God in this season that people are living in. In this season that you're living in, I'm encourage you today. You need to trust in God. Trust in Him wholeheartedly with everything you got. Because, man, if I could tell you, if I could be honest with you, they coming after us, bro. Like, this world is coming after us. Like, they coming after us. I've been really challenged too. I've been challenged because I've been hearing it over and over and over again. And some of us have just been sitting on our gifts, and we've been praying that God makes a way, God opens doors, and He does. I'm not saying that He doesn't, but I think many of us are expecting God to move first, and we'll just happily walk through the door that God opens. But now I'm starting to realize, you know what if God put the key in your pocket, right? Like, I've been praying for just crazy miracles, and it gets frustrating. Let me tell you this much. Now, we'll stop it here. I know what it's like to pray and then not get the prayer answered, and then be frustrated because the prayer didn't get answered, and then want to blame God. But then go back to, I can't blame God because He's God. And I really don't want that beef. You know how you like get mad at God, but you're like, I don't want that smoke with God though. So then you're like, let me change my attitude. I know what it's like to be there in that cycle and be frustrated. And you just and I used to think, and I still do, that God answers my prayer the moment I answer it. But sometimes I just don't see the answer. And maybe with all the prayers, I should be praying, God, help me see the answer. So I've been praying for like just kind of solutions and fixing certain things and praying for resources and money. And Like, you'd be floored if you had a conversation with me and I told you what I actually have access to and what's in my computer, for example, what's in my computer. You'd slap me. You'd slap me. If I told you what was next to my bed and then what's under my kitchen table, you'd slap the living spit out of me. Because it's like, what are you praying for then? When the answer's in the form of seed that's surrounding you completely surrounding you. And it's just makes me go, God is answering prayers. He just doesn't answer them the way that we want them to, or we want him to. He's not answering the way that we think it should look like. The miracle doesn't look the way we think it should look. And it's disturbing because we're like, I want it to go down this way. This is how I want it to happen. And the Lord is like, bro, trust me, you're good. I gave you the answer. It's right here. It's right here in front of your face. Trust me. Do we trust him? I don't know. HeritageParkPROD.com is the website. Do you trust God? I tell people all the time, we trust God a lot. But sometimes you need to know that God trusts you. God has a purpose and a plan for your life. And he trusts that you're going to do the right thing. He trusts that you're going to do the thing. He knows that you are. But sometimes we have to pray, all right, God, line my life up to see how this thing plays out and make it peaceful in my heart. Show me where I should make moves at. Instead of give me this so I can do this. It should be, God, thank you for the resources. Thank you for putting me in positions to win. Lord, help me see what you want me to see. Help me minister to the people you want me to minister. Help me see the hurting of people. Maybe you're in situations, maybe you're at jobs, not because of the pay, but because of the people. Right? Maybe you're in a relationship because of the people, not necessarily what you get out of certain things. It's human nature to feel like we got to grab a hold of what's going on around us. What's going on around us. It's human nature to be like, this is for me. I got to fix this for me. But a lot of times God is like, yo, why don't you just sit there and be patient, see what I'm doing, and take part in something bigger than you. You know? I don't know. What do I know? Well, I know. What do I know? But anyways, HeritageParkPROD.com is the website. We got some new merch up on that page. You go get it. We got new music coming out. I say that all the time, but we really do. It's one of the things that's been sitting on my computer for over a year. Like, I'm talking like full mastered, mixed down, ready to go. Anyways, I gotta get off this computer. I gotta go brush my teeth. I have yuck mouth. You ever have yuck mouth? That's gross. I hate it. Anyways, God bless you, man. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks for the support. Click that like and share button. Don't forget about our two supporters for this month of Epic Thoughts. Tajai.ai, they're killing the game, and Streamyard. Without those two companies, we'd be stuck on like, I don't know what to do with my podcast. So thank you for those, and we hope to talk to you guys soon. Have a great week, man. God bless you, and adios. Peace.